Hi there, this is a video which is not the one that I've been planning on making. I was going to make a video which was just a general rundown of some stuff that's been going on in the online sphere and news and so forth. The main thing that I was going to cover, and I am still going to cover it in this video, was that Blaire White, an anti-social justice YouTuber, made a video where she talked about how people online are kind of fake often and pretending, and that it's not real and it's just an act to pander to people. I'd also wanted to talk about how Armoured Skeptic had made a video where he said that the rich and powerful use divisive politics to divide people and have them squabbling against themselves.
Instead of focusing on our shared interests, our common oppressors, those who live in ivory towers on private islands and tax havens, they've got us running in circles, playing whack-a-mole with an endless barrage of manufactured outrage played 24/7 on CNN and Fox News. We're being conditioned to never point our finger up, but instead at each other.
And how hilarious that was, because Armoured Skeptic is kind of an anti-progressive, and that is what progressives actually believe. Like, if you weren't strawmanning and weren't just saying progressivism is about punching people in the face that you disagree with and calling people a Nazi for no reason, what they would actually genuinely believe would be that money in politics is corrupting everything, that the people at the top divide people. Attack this group, it's Mexicans. Oh, go after this group, it's the black people. Go after the Muslims, when really the issue is the powerful are taking away the resources of the poor in order to shaft them of healthcare, to drain the public resources of education, to get involved in foreign entanglements where they spend billions and billions of dollars on arms and weaponry, to take away women's bodily autonomy, to have the poor always fighting amongst themselves, whereas the people with the true power just run off to the bank laughing, and to deregulate everything as much as possible and pollute and have slave labor. And that Armoured Skeptic was stating the progressive position as a positive, like, yeah, this is a logical, smart position to have. Armoured Skeptic suddenly noticed what progressives believed unwittingly and has said that it's a good thing. I don't know how that happened. Something must have gotten to his water. But I don't have much more to say about that, and I was going to talk about it in more detail. I was also going to talk about Sargon of Akkad because he's been talking about Article 11 and Article 13 in the European Parliament. I'll just quickly read an article that says what that's all about. Article 11 would require internet companies to pay news outlets for hosting their content on their platforms. While this has been welcomed by some news corporations, others suggested that this would force social media companies such as Facebook, Google, and Twitter to pay news organizations in order to feature as little as 2 words or a hyperlink from their news stories. Article 11 states that publishing insubstantial parts of a press publication should not be subjected to the norm, but fails to give a clear definition of what insubstantial boils down to. Does it mean a hyperlink snippet, a sentence, a word? So that's Article 11, which passed in the EU Parliament, and the next one was even more controversial, which was Article 13, and this is the one that has a lot of anti-SJW folks up in arms. Article 13 is, if possible, even more controversial, earning itself the reputation of a meme killer. It would require web giants to automatically filter copyrighted material, songs, images, videos uploaded on their platforms, unless it has been specifically licensed. Despite its divisiveness, the piece of legislation passed by 438 votes to 226, with 39 abstentions in the European Parliament. So Article 11 is just adding on top of whatever copyright they have, a copyright regulation for linking to articles. This would be beneficial, I suppose, to media corporations, folks like CNN, CBS, Fox News, etc., because their content is popular and their links are popular, so they would be receiving more resources through copyright for people referencing those things. And it would be a negative or a difficulty for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, because it's just more regulation placed on top of what they already have. And I think in the long run, it could come back on news corporations and bite them in the ass when people avoid linking to their content because they don't want to have to deal with the headache of complying to the regulation for copyright. So it could have a negative long-term impact for news corporations, but in the immediate term, it's good for them, I think. Article 13 is the one that's been very controversial because that extends to images, songs, and videos, etc. It just makes me think that it means Facebook and Twitter will become more like YouTube. On YouTube, when you use copyrighted material in your video, you instantly get flagged down by the bots, which demonetizes your video unless you do an appeal. And I would say maybe 90% of my videos are demonetized. Before the adpocalypse, I was making like $250 to $300 a month, and that went down and down to like $70 a month, and that's all because of the adpocalypse. Major corporations coming together and saying, we need to make more money from our stuff and small creators need to make less. So they just took away as much money as they possibly could from creators. And I think basically both of these regulations, Article 11 and Article 13, is again just saying they don't give a fuck about small creators. If you're just a small pleb, it's like, fuck you. You are worthless to these platforms. They don't care about us at all. They don't value us. All they care about is these corporations, and I think that these articles are just more corporatization of these websites. You know, you may think it's nice that it's inconveniencing Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but it's also going to discourage people from sharing news, so there's going to be less and less news on those websites when people want to avoid these kind of copyright strikes, and I think it will turn Facebook more into YouTube. They have such a stranglehold on the money, and they're so protective of their resources that they want to take as much as they can and then shovel some of that to major people. So like major artists may get a boost from this, but it's just another shafting of small creators. That's the way I see that. Now, I was going to cover Saga Nova Cards coverage of it, but I just can't bothered now, so I just decided to skip that. Overall, I think these regulations are bad. It's just a continuation of fuck the small people. The vast majority of creators on YouTube can go fuck themselves. That's just the way I read it. And there's some other stuff, but it can't have been that important because I can't even remember what it was. Now, what was I talking about at the start of this video? Well, last night I recorded a video. I don't know if I'll release it. I'm not sure. But it's just called Quitting YouTube. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done with YouTube. I can't see a point of being here anymore. Part of that was watching Blaire White's video when she said, like, people are just fake and full of shit.
So another big reason why I've been so turned off from doing political commentary is the other people that people see as my peers, people that I've worked with, other commentators. Kind of want to be careful with what I even say here, but I moved to LA almost a year ago, and one thing about LA is there's a lot of work here, so a lot of other political commentators, other people who you guys know, I'm not talking about obscure people here, a lot of them either live in LA or they're constantly in and out for work, filming something, doing whatever they do. So I've met almost all of them. People I've either been on their show or on a show with them, or I went to a dinner with them, an event with them, or I became close with some of them. The amount of them that I've met that have told me either directly or in a roundabout way that's very clear that they don't believe everything that they say that they believe when they're on camera. A lot of them just flat out don't believe. They're just actors. They're just actors. I don't know how else to put it. I had one person who I went on their show and I was in the green room, which is like the makeup room before you go on camera. The host of the show comes in and it's like, hey Blaire, you know, small talk. Hey Blaire, wanted you on for a while. So glad you're here. Nice to meet you. Let's take a picture, blah, blah, blah. They pull me aside and say, I just want you to know, Blaire, I don't feel any negative way towards you or trans people. I know we talk negatively of trans people a lot on the show, but that's just because it's kind of what the fans want. But it's just kind of where we're at right now. And I was taken aback because I felt like that's really fraudulent that you would feel the need to go on air and say something negative about trans people or transgenderism or whatever, but it's not really how you feel. He also said he has like a trans cousin or something like that, and that he feels bad that they're the butt of every joke on his show or whatever. And I was like, but almost every person I met after him was almost always consistently like that.
I mean, it kind of got to me in the sense that I probably don't think that in the exact same way Blaire White does, but I think it's true. I think that people are complete fucking phonies.
My God, that's amazing! You are so talented!
Huh?
Wait a second. Something's not right here. You were just making it look like you were playing. You're a phony! Hey! This guy's a great big phony!
Come on, Chris.
Hey, you know who lives in this house? A great big phony! That's right, a phony lives here! A big fat phony!
Because everything is just about how do I get the most attention, how do I get the most views, how do I get the most subs. And I gotta be honest, like obviously I care about those kinds of things because I would probably feel less demoralized if I felt like I had more of a base or I had more followers, I suppose. But I guess it's like just the mentality of I have to defeat other people and I have to be more important than other people and I have to make other people look bad is increasingly something that I care about so little that I just am losing any desire to do anything anymore.
Because you start learning things like, oh, almost all of them hire people to tweet and Facebook post and Instagram on their behalf, tweeting out opinions on their behalf, which I feel like is unethical because if people are following you because they believe you're some intellectual and they trust your opinion and they're gonna shape their opinions a lot of times on an issue based on your opinion, and it's not even actually your opinion, it's something that you paid someone to assume is your opinion, and you're so much of a rigid, like, binary thinker that it's easy just to pay someone, like, yeah, tweet out the standard response and this is what it is. It's like, I don't respect that.
My initial reaction upon hearing this was, I guess as Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks from the Young Turks would say, I guess as Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks would, I can't talk anymore. I guess as Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks would say, I don't know why I can't say this. Of course, many of these people are just pandering. They're just saying what the people want to hear, and I have no idea if this is about Steven Crowder, but somebody mentioned that they could picture Steven Crowder going backstage with someone and saying, I don't actually care if people are transgender, it's no big deal to me, live and let live, but, my audience has certain expectations, so we are just sort of going down that path of talking negatively about transgender people, and it's nothing personal, but that's just sort of the angle that my show is taking. I could totally picture that. With Dave Rubin, for example, I could just picture him being a cheesy, professional, smarmy type guy backstage. Oh, I can't wait to hear about your ideas. Like, it's gonna be fantastic. Like, you're so popular. It's gonna be a great show. Like, just crap like that. That's what I could picture from Dave Rubin, but I could totally picture pure fakery bullshit from somebody like Steven Crowder, for example. Because people do just pander to the specific audience that they've created. My personal view of what I've tried to do on YouTube is that I try to be as honest and open as I can about my positions. I think I've spent a lot of time in my life walking on eggshells around specific people and being cautious and being careful, but that was more of a personal relationship thing. When it comes to giving my actual political views or my opinions, I'm never going to change that just to be what people want to hear. That's why, for example, I made a video about a school teacher who was caught saying pro-Nazi stuff, where I said I'm not sure if it's fair that that person got fired from teaching for doing that, and then some people who are allies of mine were like, oh my god, Tim, you're supporting this white supremacist, and I gave my arguments about that, and they would just say, well, I just think you're completely short-sighted on this, I can't believe you would think that, wow. Like it's some kind of fucking betrayal that I have an opinion that you don't agree with. I mean, I appreciate people that I've allied with over time, but sometimes I feel like they're so up my butt about having an opinion that they don't like, and they're so lectury that it's just like, yes, being fake, just going along to get along, whatever group you're in, whether it's the anti-social justice people or it's the social justice people or whoever it is, that's the name of the game. It's just fucking fake. I'm sorry, I feel a little bit angry at the moment, as you may be able to tell. But when I saw Blaire say that, I was like, oh fucking course, that is the most obvious statement in the history of humanity, that a lot of the anti-social justice people, and perhaps some of the social justice people, are just fucking panderers who are too scared to give their actual opinions about stuff because they're worried about creating their audience and having numbers and having subs and shit. Of course. And then some people were giving Blaire shit because they were like, well, she's kind of done that herself. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe she has. Maybe she hasn't. I do think that she gets involved in this kind of herd group mentality where they create fan bases which see people like Blaire White and people like Sean here, Armoured Skeptic, etc. as like these idols who, if they are criticized, it's like a personal affront to them. That's a view that I've never understood. There is nobody who currently exists in the entire world who, if you besmirch their honor, I would give a fuck. Like, for example, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. I like the Young Turks. I watch the Young Turks. Some people have an issue with that, and they say, I can't believe you watch that stuff. Alright, people have different opinions, that's fine. But if you said, Cenk Uygur's a dishonest liar, he's a scumbag, he's always lying about this, he's always lying about that, I would just say, I really like Cenk Uygur, and I like his opinions, and I enjoy watching him, and you having a different opinion about Cenk Uygur means nothing to me. You think he's a liar, fine. I think of people like Sam Harris.
Welcome to the Keep on Sleeping podcast. This is Sam Harris. Okay, well, before I bring you today's guest, a couple of updates. There's a starving person by my front door today that I just stepped over on the way to this podcast because I was, I'm busy. It's worth not caring. Just do your thing, and you will eventually realize that you can do it happily. I have some good guests coming up on the podcast. I have Harval Urari, who many of you have requested. He wrote The Big Story of Our Time, and it is an incredibly boring one.
Sam Harris has created this fan base who is obsessed with defending his honor. If somebody said, oh man, it just annoys me that Sam Harris platformed Charles Murray, who's a race realist, and he agrees with those ideas, that means that Sam Harris must be kind of a race realist himself. You just have like hordes of fan boys and girls in your comments saying, you lied about Sam Harris, you're dishonest, you're regressive, how dare you lie. Sam Harris cares about truth more than anyone else in this world. I actually saw a comment of somebody say, Sam Harris is so intellectually honest that dishonesty is alien to him, and it confuses his mind because it's such a foreign concept to someone so honest that to see dishonesty makes him go like, this does not compute. I am so pure and I am so honest that intellectual dishonesty makes me break down. Sam Harris is so pure as the driven snow that he has to clear up all of the nonsense people have said about him on every second podcast. And to me, that is thinking like a cultist, to be honest. I don't think Sam Harris's fanbase is a cult. I don't think fans of like the intellectual dark web, like Jordan Peterson, for example, are cultists. But I think they behave in a cult-like manner and they've been brainwashed into cultish thinking by making a specific individual or person into an idol. Now, I know that I'm obviously not popular enough, I don't have as big enough a fan base for me to be able to say I would not want my fans to be like that, because people just say, haha, well, you don't have any subs anyways, so there's no risk of that. But if I was a larger creator, I would not want hordes of people who just defend me and agree with everything that I think all the time. Because it's gross, it's weird, it's creepy. And whatever I think of Blaire White, I think when she talks about how people are fake and making stuff up behind the scenes that they then go on camera and say they believe, that makes me think of that sort of era that we're in now of idolizing specific individuals. There are some people who make channels which are just, Jordan Peterson crushes this person, Jordan Peterson uses logic bombs, blah blah tries to come at Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson shuts them down. Jordan Peterson makes a brilliant point again. Their entire fucking channel is just worshipping one person. And then you'll have another channel of like, Ben Shapiro destroys this person. Ben Shapiro destroys them. Ben Shapiro is so smart. Ben blah, blah, blah. Sam Harris is the best. Sam Harris is the greatest. Sam Harris crushes Jordan Peterson. I don't get how people can think like that. I don't understand. How could you think one person is so perfect all the fucking time? I somewhat digress. I do think that Blaire has engaged in some of that group thinking, because I tweeted at Blaire not long ago about something and I can't even remember what it's about because I care so little. And she replied to me like, you only care about one or two people because you're bottom feeding, lying, whatever scumbag. And my reaction to it was just like, I don't get it. How could I produce that vitriolic a reaction from somebody? What have I said or done that could make somebody hate me that much? I didn't get it. I didn't understand. And I just thought maybe Blaire was engaging in that kind of dehumanizing the people you disagree with. Maybe she dehumanizes me so much that she projects and assumes that I also dehumanize her, because I don't have any personal feelings about Blaire White. I think that I hated the fact that she made a video that said transgender people are mentally ill because it was incorrect, and I explained that in the video how, like, the DSM-5 doesn't describe it as a mental illness. It's an outdated way of thinking, and I think it's misinformation. And that's the kind of opinion that Blaire, I think, would defend somebody giving, because it's their genuine, real point of view. My genuine sense of it was, Blaire White's full of shit, so I'm gonna say that she's full of shit here, because that is my opinion, that is my unvarnished view. What do? I just dumb it down, I just make it so it can't offend anybody, because I have to be careful. And to be perfectly honest, after all this time online and on YouTube, I kind of wish that I'd pandered more, I guess, to an extent. I kind of wish that there were times where I didn't say what I actually thought. I wish that I hadn't said what I actually thought to some friends. One friendship in particular, where I had kept my mouth shut the whole time about how I felt like they were treating me like I was stupid and lesser in some way, and naive and dumb. Like, they weren't treating me like I was actually an intelligent person. You don't have to think I'm intelligent, but if you're my friend, I would at least think that you thought higher of me than just thinking everything that I had to say was ignorant and stupid. So eventually I said to this friend, I don't like the way you treat me, I don't like the way you talk to me, I don't feel like friends should treat each other that way. And he was just like, alright then, well, bye forever. I was like, alright. Entire friendship gone. Because I spoke my mind. Because out of holding my tongue for years, I decided to speak my mind. And now that friendship's gone. And then that happened a few other times. Like making a video where I disagreed with someone who I was friends with, and then just like, well, you're dead to me, block you on everything, you can never talk to me again. And it's just like, I mean, I don't know, I kind of hate this place It's so negative, and, you know, speaking your mind hurts you. It hurts you in so many ways. It destroys friendships because people have these egos that cannot be crossed. If you cross the ego, then you've affronted them, and doesn't matter many times how many years you've been friends with this person, they hate you from then on. And that's it. And I wish I hadn't have spoken my mind sometimes. And I also wish that I hadn't have gotten in fights with people like Bearing, because I just get his hateful negative commenters on my channel all the time. Bearing this, Bearing, like, I don't even bring the guy up. I guess, like, I'm bringing him up right now just for the purpose of talking about this. But after I had those run-ins with Bearing, saying, like, this guy's a liar, this guy's full of shit, and this guy's a misogynist, etc., stuff that I still think. For me, it was like, and that's it. I've said my piece, I'll move on with my life, and I'll leave it there. But the fan bases of these people are so rabid and so obsessed with defending the honor of that person that I haven't heard the end of this Bearing guy for like over a year now, and I'm just fatigued. I would prefer that I had never interacted with that guy, and that I'd never spoken my mind about what he thinks, because I think, I'm not saying this in a victim way, but I think to an extent, you get punished for speaking your mind. Over time, it erodes everything that's available to you. Another good example would be my Alex Jones video, which I made recently. If I could go back in time, I'd probably not make it. I'm gonna leave it up just because I agree still with everything I said in that video. I stand by it 100%. There's nothing I would change about it. And I feel like I'm kind of at the end of my road on YouTube anyways, so I don't think it matters. But so many people were just like, you're for banning people off Twitter, and I'm going to report you on Twitter because that's what you would want. My original account on Twitter with 5,000 whatever people, that got suspended, and I don't know why, but I think probably because I was targeted by trolls who didn't like what I had to say. Don't speak your mind, it comes back to bite you in the ass. My second account got banned, which had 3,000 people, but I think that was because they were purging second accounts, so I don't know if that was targeted by trolls. My third account, which was going over 500, that got banned, and I've still got another backup Twitter account which is just sitting there. People watched that Alex Jones video, ignored my argument entirely, they didn't care, and just decided because they didn't listen to what I had to say that meant that I should be banned off everything. So they just reported my Twitter into oblivion and then blame me for that. They say it's my fault. That's free speech online. That's what it means now. Free speech means misunderstand stuff so that you can report other people because you don't like them. And they'd call me a hypocrite for making new accounts. I've never, ever, not once, you can't find this because it doesn't exist, given anybody shit for making a new account that I didn't like, because if I don't know what they're banned for, and a lot of the time I didn't know, and they probably didn't know themselves because these websites are not transparent, and they made a new account, I'd leave it alone. Even my like absolute worst enemies, whose names I won't even say because I don't even want to say who's got like a new account on Twitter because it's a skeezy thing to talk about specifically in regards to an individual, I'd leave it alone. But they don't care. They're just like, you're a hypocrite because you think people should be banned of stuff and false flagged for no reason, even if they haven't broken any particular rules. But then they'd also say, well, because you also evaded a ban, so they report you for that, and that isn't an actual rule. However, I don't agree that evading a ban is a valid thing to be banned for if you don't know what you're banned for in the first place. You don't even know why you were originally banned. Reporting someone for evading a ban is a stupid thing to report someone for because you are literally reporting them because you don't like them. And you think, aha, I can get them banned for evading a ban. I don't care what they've done, I don't care why they were originally banned, I don't care about any other context, I just don't like that person. And I would never do that. That doesn't make sense to me. Even when previous people I disliked were like breaking copyright rules, I didn't talk about it, I didn't report them. People around me may have done that, so you could guilt by associate me with those people. Take that as you will, but personally I didn't. I've never reported somebody for copyright infringement because that seems like such a honestly narc thing to do. Like these major corporations who want to hold on to all of this intellectual property and make as much money as possible and not allow other people to use it. Yeah, those are the people that I should side with and just report people for copyright infringement. The only reason that I would do that would be because I don't like the person. I don't think that's morally valid. Anyways, there's no real structure to this video. It's gone on a little bit long, so I'll just start wrapping it up. I think basically I just personally do not care about a lot of the stuff people talk about online anyways anymore. You know, I've lost maybe like 10,000 followers from Twitter, and I can't start again for the 4th time. And it also corresponds to me completely losing interest in internet drama or any of the shit that the people I talk to go on about. I feel like everything that people talk about, at least on the timeline that I created for myself, is just, look at this person being stupid. Look at this person, they said something fucked up. Look at this person, look at that person, look at this person. And the alternative would be to create really in-depth, well-researched videos, but I just feel like I don't really have the time, and I don't really have the drive and the passion for it. I guess I could maybe release a bi-monthly in-depth video about something. But yes, going on Twitter, it's just personality versus personality versus personality. And I kind of fucked myself by engaging in that a lot in the early days on YouTube, and I think I just painted myself into a corner and made myself seem like I was just a drama guy. So when you see all these people saying like, you doxed me, he doxed me, you doxed this guy's whatever, and you did this, you did that, that stuff goes on forever, like the Bloodsport stuff. I am kind of jealous of people like ContraPoint's H-Bomber guy, Sean and Jen, whose trajectories have managed to go up, and I just think I've just stagnated. So I didn't quite pull the trigger on my quitting YouTube video, but I'm seriously considering it. I feel like isolated, no support network, I just can't see the point going on anymore. I am probably going to release a song once I get off my ass and actually do it properly. So maybe I'll release some songs here and there. My other alternative was just making endless parody satirical videos, which are fun, but I feel like I'm just kind of doing the same idea over and over again. So you might not see any videos from me for a very long time if I leave this channel up. I don't know, I might delete it or something. I've been considering just shutting my Patreon. I've got the Demotivator Opinion Facebook page. I don't know what I'll do with that. We'll see. But I have been talking to Cold of Dusty and Creationist Cat about doing a podcast, so maybe I'll be on there if that goes anywhere. I don't know, we'll see. Anything else? Oh yeah, I was just gonna finish up with, I know that like people who I have scrapped with over the years or had issues with, or former allies, people who hate me now, used to like me, will be very happy about the state that I'm in currently. And to that I just say, okay, fair enough. I guess I made some bad choices. Just keep on hating me. I don't think it makes much of a difference anyways. And the people who do like my content, who are fans of my stuff, thank you for sticking it out with me. It's been a fun ride. There may be 1 or 2 videos in the future, I don't know. I'm not sure. Thanks very much. Have a good life.